Boxing King Media in association with Boxstore. Johnny Nelson, excited? Lawrence Okoli stood to your left, back on Sky Sports.
Yeah, it's nice to see him on Sky Sports again, backing up. That badge is here. Nice to see him on Sky Sports again, back home. As I said, welcome home, son. I think he spent a valuable period of his career in legal conversations. I'm just glad to see he's back to work. I think this young man as a world champion is not the finished article. So can you imagine how successful he can be if he gets to where he should be, and he's champion already. There are so many good fights out there at the moment. The Richard Riappo, Chris Billings Biff, Badu Jack, or Patayo, I think his name is. You know, there are fights to be there where you could actually get a unification. So to me, I think it's good. It's all slowly but surely coming under one umbrella.
One of the things I want to ask you, Johnny, is because I think you could draw comparisons to him. And when I spoke to him yesterday, and I kind of highlighted it about the amount of shit he gets online about, I'll use the words that people use, like, are boring, he holds on too much, he's not exciting to watch. And then obviously he's had a lot of flack from his ex-promoter about, you don't sell the show out. You kind of had the same sort of stuff, so he seems to be all right with it. But what do you think? What's going on inside his mind?
I said from day one, when they started saying this about him, the language they're using in regards to him is exactly the same language they used about me. And some people might say, yeah, Nelson, you were boring. I'll still end up being setting a record of defences and being finished unbeaten as a world cruiserweight champion. The style isn't awkward; it's unorthodox. The style is if as long as you're winning, but he's not just winning; he's knocking them out. So therefore, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter you. When it's the finished article, then slowly but surely you think, I see it. Do you remember Tyson Fury when he first came on the scene? His style was like, oh my goodness, is this? But now all of a sudden, Tyson Fury is the best thing since sliced bread. So as long as Lawrence sticks to what he's got to stick to, doesn't get dragged into what he said or she said, ignores the promoters when they try and be negative about you. As long as he does that, then when he eventually is where he should be, people appreciate him for the talent that he has.
Just looking at you both stood next to each other, obviously you fought cruiserweight. It's quite interesting, like, sizing you both up. Like, he's got ambitions to be a heavyweight. Do you think he should do that? Because looking at him from this angle, he doesn't look big.
I actually, when I heard that he wants to move up to heavyweight, I went, no, don't do that, man. I've set a record of defences. If anybody's going to break it, I want it to be a Brit. You know what I mean? But he's going to go where the dough is. If you can unify the titles and there's a heavyweight opportunity that I believe could possibly pop up, don't be surprised. He'll take it. He's a tall fighter. He's a rangy fighter. He's worked alongside heavyweights, so he knows and he's comfortable to get in there with heavyweights, which means he knows he can hurt heavyweights and not be hurt by heavyweights like smaller fights could be. So it's a case of what he wants to do. And most decent cruiserweights can be most decent heavyweights. Not all, most decent heavyweights. And if he feels that, he's going to go for that option.
Definitely so. Talking of heavyweights, Lawrence's stablemate, Tyson Fury, you've seen all the back and forth drama. Without going too far into it, from what you know, Johnny, who do you think is to blame? Because I will kind of phrase it out there, because I've seen some analogies put out there about, if there was 100, if Usyk fought Tyson, there's potentially 100 million on the table, of which 30 million Usyk would be getting. But if he fought anybody else, there might be 10 million on the table, of which he might get 5 million. And that's the analogies people, I've heard some people use online.
So again, I'll start it off by saying I believe Tyson Fury would beat Alexander Usyk. So we're not Tyson Fury bashing. Who do I think is to blame for the fight not happening? Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury negotiated brilliantly a 70-30 split for himself, and no rematch or whatever else it was. I think he just pushed it and outpriced himself in regards to the fight, thinking he is the end of the rainbow. Alexander Usyk's basically saying, you know what, you're not the end of the rainbow. I've got these belts, this is what I'm going to do. I'll create my own rainbow. So Tyson Fury has now priced himself out of the fight. It's not Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury's done it. And so you'd think at first there were arguments about him getting 70% of the fight. And I thought, well, good on you. You've negotiated a wicked deal for yourself. You negotiated I don't know if it's a conflicting information, because Tyson said he didn't want a rematch, and Usyk said, well, that's not me, that's your people. So I don't know if Tyson's not talking to his people and they're not talking to him. But I just think he's outpriced himself. And I think, so you're talking about opportunity for earning that kind of money elsewhere. Well, there are still, it's vice versa. So who does Tyson Fury go in and fight and earn that kind of money? It's the Tyson Fury show, but who does he fight and earn that kind of money? Because he's beaten Wilder 3 times, 2 times officially. Anthony Joshua, the Anthony Joshua fight's the only fight that's been on and off. If I was Anthony Joshua's team, would say, you know what, we need to lick our wounds and get our stock back in order. So right now, you do what you're doing. So where else is there? For Alexander Usyk, there's Wilder, there's Andy Ruiz. You know, there's fights that are there that can be made, that'll be bums on seats. And remember, this guy's from the Ukraine. And now they've got him in the position where here in the UK, the fans, he's got a fan base here in the UK where people will go to watch him fight. How insane is that? So now Tyson's he's got to think to himself, I've got to make sure I stay the rainbow. I stay the rainbow's me. But Usyk's saying, you know what? Money's not my God. You do what you're doing, and I'll go and fight somebody else. And that's what he's done. So I pin the blame firmly at Tyson's feet. He got everything I assumed he wanted, but he wanted more, and Usyk said, no, it's not happening.
Could he be injured? Because I saw Frank Warren say there's a rumour going around that he could be injured. Could it be Tyson? Apparently there's a rumour that he might be carrying an injury.
If that's what it is, then I understand it. You know, if that's what it is, I understand it. But if it's what it seems to be, and it's a smoke screen, then unfortunately you can't blame people for believing it.
Definitely so. And moving on to Kell Brook, I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago. You would have seen, I think it's the first interview he did since his video that got leaked online. And he kind of suggested that he's in a good place and he's recovering from the issue he had with the drugs, and basically saying he'd fight Conor Benn if the money was right. That situation still isn't 100% clear, but if it can be made, would you be happy to see Kell in with Conor Benn?
I think a bit of that was said tongue-in-cheek. Kell's clearly in a happy place. I think he did very well to get him in front of camera, have the conversation. He's in a happy place. He's doing what suits him. If he wants to play cat and mouse and say, "Come on, talk to me, Bobby," then he might have the conversation. And if the conversation suits him, then the fight could happen. Would I be happy for him to do it? No, I wouldn't, because it's a short-term solution for a long-term problem. You know, you've got to walk away eventually. And so I think you just get through that tough, sticky part. Get through that first 5 years. Get through it, man. Kell's financially comfortable, very comfortable. He's just going to go through the process. And then no matter what, you've got to go through the process. And so would I like Kell to do it? No, I wouldn't. If Kell did it, would I support him? The talent I know Kell has, I know Kell has the ability and the experience to beat Conor Benn. How would I think the fight would go? Conor Benn, before all the scandal that came around, I thought he was one of the most improving fighters I'd seen on the scene. The problem is, when you've been a fighter that's been at the very top, a young gun comes up that you think, you know what, this man can't tie my shoelaces. You're thinking of yourself when you could do X, Y, Z. But you can no longer do X, Y, Z as fast as you used to be able to do it. So when a young gun comes and beats you, it kills you more than a loss. Any normal loss would kill you, because people are looking at you thinking they remember you for that, and that's where the problem lies.
Interesting thoughts there, Johnny. And quick one, Eddie Hearn, Simon Jordan. Just quickly talk to me who you thought won that debate.
I think. Again, I commended Eddie Hearn for going in to talk sport, the fire pit, and sitting down and being drilled by Simon Jordan. I respect Simon Jordan for being the only guy to sit and talk to Eddie and challenge him, really challenge him and not let him off the hook. And I think Simon Jordan was probably kicking himself because he probably knew things that he just didn't divulge, which is why he was dogging Eddie about certain situations, contract information, stuff like that. But again, I got to rate Eddie, and like it or not, this is business. If Eddie's on your side, he's on your side. If he's not on your side, you know, things like what Lawrence is saying or whoever was saying, it can be smart, it can be whatever. It's business. Why would he care about you if you're not his business? He'll care about the people that are with him, what he's doing for Conor. He's standing there, he's taking the bullets, man. He's taking the licks for what's happened with Conor's career. So he's proved that if I'm with you, I'm with you. If I'm not, you know, you don't want me as an enemy. And so, and Simon actually took him to task and rated Simon. Simon's sharpness, intelligence, his understanding of the business side of it, and he was probably the only person that could actually do that with Eddie. Because most guys, when they interview Eddie, like Tyson Fury, XYZ, they only want to ask certain questions, and they don't want to push it too far, because they know if they push it too far, they're never going to get an interview again. So they let man off when they shouldn't let man off. Where Simon Jones like, no. And he's not just done that with Eddie. Did it with Derek Chisora. He does it with everybody that comes in. And I rate that. That's how it should be.
I will say on Boxing King Media's behalf, where we do tend to ask whatever we think the fans want to know, but never held back.
Yeah, I get that. Listen, I've got to say to you, you get some interviews where people have actually shut the door to most interviewers, and I get that. And most people might take offence at it. But the thing is, how they shut you down, they don't give you a press pass for the next show. You know, that is done. You know, you guys, that when you're watching it at home, you're saying, why has he not asked that? Why has he not asked this? Because reporters, if they ask the wrong questions, the press pass is stopped. You know, so they can't get in again. You guys have got to make your living. So you've got to ask the questions, but not ask the questions where at the point where you're thinking, you ain't going to be back here again. But the problem is, the public don't know that. You know, it's not that you don't want to ask the questions, it's that you want to work the next week.
Fair play, Johnny. Hopefully that'll never happen to us. To be fair to Eddie, he's never stopped me from asking him anything, so he's always been sound. So, Johnny Nelson, anything else you want to add before I let you go?
No, we're good. Looking forward to Saturday. Looking forward to seeing Fraser Clark in action. Again, back in Manchester. Love Manchester.
Likewise, man, just down the road from Sheffield. Thank you very much.
Peace.